You think TV reporters are the only ones up at midnight to show you what's going on with the storm? No, United Way is doing it for you too. We got Cliff Smith, he's the president of the United Way, and working with a system that you had mentioned earlier. In fact, you had been talking about some of your reporting.
It's the 211 system, and basically it's a 24-hour hotline. If you have any questions about the storm, you can call. You can actually talk to a normal person. And Cliff, with that in mind, are you there?
Sure.
Cliff, how are you tonight, sir? And tell us what it's looking like in your neck of the woods and about this service you guys are offering.
We actually since Hurricane Charlie, the United Way 211 program, when there's an alert status, the EOC, we actually run the storm hotline for the EOC. So what happens is the 211 people, we actually come over and plug in where the 911 people are, and we handle all those calls so that they don't go to the, so that the 911 people can actually handle, actual emergencies. And what we do is answer all the questions about people who are calling in about the storm.
I'm going to tell you right now, 911 dispatchers and all of our law enforcement and emergency responders in our area appreciate that you all are siphoning off these calls. What are some of the most common questions you get? Maybe we can address them right now on the air and cut down on some of the calls into your phone line. What are some of the most common things you're hearing from folks?
Well, for the most part, the largest call volume today was earlier in the day when the EOC announced the mandatory evacuations, and we took most of the calls we took in the early part of the day, and that's when there was by far the heavier call volume, is when they announced that. And obviously there were people who needed to go to the shelters, and they needed to know which shelters were open, and we obviously have a shelter for that does the pets, and we also have the one for the people who are special needs. So we took quite a few calls about both the mandatory evacuations and then where could people go, and obviously we sent them to the nearest shelter.
All right, great information. We should mention now those mandatory evacuation orders no longer in effect for coastal parts of our area, so we want everyone to know that. Right. What have you all been learning through this process? Because you've been doing it since Hurricane Charlie. What have you done and what have you felt as you've gone through this process that you want to let people know?
Well, only that we think that we have a great emergency crew in our community, and the EOC does a fantastic job. And really what we do is they simply give us the answers to all the questions, and we obviously have some skills in answering the phone lines. But I'm sitting here in a room now, and they've scripted, we have whiteboards up, and their answers to all the questions that people normally ask, and they just do a super job of making sure that we have accurate information so that we're giving people the information they need to know to get through the storm.
Well, we know so many Southwest Floridians appreciate it. This is one of those times where we worry about some folks who might otherwise be unattended. People aren't checking on maybe some of our elderly or people who are in at-risk situations in general, maybe don't have the best housing in the world. So we appreciate what you and all the volunteers at United Way are doing, and reminding our viewers this is where your donations go when Southwest Florida has got an emergency situation. The United Way is there to help. Thank you, Cliff, for being a part of that and for talking to us at this hour.
Doing a super job.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you so much. We want to remind you that we're relying on you to bring you full coverage of what's going on. So if you've got the scene in Glades, DeSoto, Hendry County specifically, because sometimes we're not as great about bringing those images from the inland counties. We've been concentrating on the coast because we've expected the coastal areas to really feel the most of Isaac as it blows by. But go ahead and send those pictures and video our way. We'll make it part of our coverage, put it on as we continue to bring you images throughout the night. Send it to us at Storm Patrol at Fox 4 Now.